StacheCast, baby. Super Bowl 57, Eagles, Chiefs. This is a special episode of StacheCast today, folks. It's our Super Bowl sports betting special. Let's fucking go. We've got the usual suspects minus Tweeter. He had a pre-planned dad's day out that took him into the wee hours. And as you know, growing up and getting older makes the recovery time a little bit longer. So we'll wish him best on his hangover today. Hopefully he recovers so he can celebrate for the Super Bowl and party like the rest of us. But like I said, usual suspects on the horn to give their thoughts on the game, bets, as well as a lot of prop bets that we're looking at this morning. JJ, Jared Jones from Phoenix, Arizona. Thanks for being here, man. Alex Alper, the professor, is here from LA, and my beautiful fiance to be. We got about a month left, so this fiance stuff's about to be tired. About to switch it over to wifey, but K Love is here, and our degenerate gambler that we love, Scott Ward, is back. Everybody, but before we talk about all the shit that Scott had on his little scribble sheet on the props that you liked yesterday that I couldn't read. And we get this ball rolling down the hill. Did you guys see the video that I posted this morning on the Phoenix Open, the mullet guy, the stampede at the gates? Has anybody seen that?
Wow, this
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, crazy. There was a 3-part. I didn't post all the videos of the mullet guy, but the mullet guy runs out in Speedo, does a little pole dance on the flag, does a little running around, dives into the pond to get away from the security, and then swims out to the waste management logo out in the middle of the pond, and he's just out there like this. I'm like, well, if you're going to get arrested, get some airtime, right?
Go big.
Like,
Go big.
Yeah.
It's not warm out here in the morning either. So
No.
kudos to him, double time.
Fortunately, the video wasn't close up enough for me to be able to tell how cold it was. But yeah, a Speedo in the desert in 30 degrees is not it. I'll just
like
tell you, it's not
40
it.
this morning, no chance. Ugh.
But hey, the taters on that guy, hilarious way to start the day. I mean, I'm just in here getting coffee and I'm watching some Yahoo and a mullet running around. You know, Scott's usually the guy that fires those things off to me before I see him. He follows all those Golf Channel people that, you know, drunk before the turn and all that stuff. It sends me all this stuff going on. But that, I said it last week, that this golf tournament is a frat party at a golf course, and it has not disappointed so far. I mean, the yell and the screaming. I mean, the guys in the mullets. There was a guy in the video they were dressed up like Canadian Mounties. And they're running through with their hats on, and it's just like, it's an absolute insane party. And Chris and I were like, what, are they getting to the point where we're about to have to start dialing it down? Because I mean, mullets and streakers and all this kind of stuff. Is it getting too much? I mean, you're the pure golf guy, Scott. What do you think?
Nah, I think it's perfect. You got to keep that one party at the beginning of the season.
That's right.
And we dial it back as we get into the Masters.
I gotcha. Well, there's a lot of craziness going on in Phoenix right now. Let's be honest. It's absolutely crazy. There's a surge in Uber and Lyft prices. The car services are grand to get to the airport, like JJ said earlier offline. So it's absolutely madness. But I'm going to hand it over to the professor. Alex, you've been doing your research. You've been dialing down the game tomorrow and looking at all the prop bets and all the things that are going on. And but you have some pretty staggering Super Bowl betting stats. You want to start us off with that?
Sure. So combined for the hi everyone, happy Saturday morning. Yes, did a lot of research this week. I don't bet a lot, believe it or not, but when I do, it's
Smart.
2 times of the year.
Smarter than us.
I do like doing the research and helping out everybody else, but me actually placing a bet, first of all, it's very difficult to do so in California. But there are ways, you know, the internet and whatnot. But the 2 times a year I do my bets are the Super Bowl and March Madness, where I'm actually betting myself. And I love the crazy prop bets, which we'll talk about as well. But let's talk about the grandeur that is the Super Bowl. $16 billion estimated going to be wagered on the Super Bowl this year.
Wow.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. There have been
16 billion. They said, what about 50 million Americans are going to be betting something like that with that, and a total
Probably
of 16
around like 10 million, 20 million, somewhere in between there. I don't remember that stat, but yeah,
That's a
somewhere
lot.
around there. Yeah. So this is 50. Sunday will be Super Bowl 57, Eagles Chiefs. For those of you who didn't know that. So in the other 56 Super Bowls, we've got some numbers to go through, right? 47 of the 56 winners of the Super Bowl have either covered or won as an outright dog. Favorites are 36 and 20. So odds on, you put your money on the Eagles, right? Because they're the favorite. Statistically, potentially, that's what you do. The line opens moments after Kansas City won at Kansas City -1.5. And now it's at Philadelphia -1.5. So we've seen a 3-point turn being like, oh, Kansas City. Now it's like Eagles. In fact, most of these sports books are going to lose a lot of money if the Eagles win. Because 76% of the money that's going on the Super Bowl is all going on the Eagles. And usually when the public is betting one way, you would bet the opposite way. I don't think that's the right thing to do this year. But the over-under started out at 48.5. That lasted for about 3 minutes until it moved up to 49.5. Now we're at 50.5 for the over-under. Most of the time, the over is the way to go in the Super Bowl. But this is the background of the Super Bowl. And there's a ton of bets out there. And for those of you who aren't overly familiar, we've obviously talked about betting on the money line. And we talked about betting on the spread. And we talked about betting on the over-under. But the Super Bowl is when they get as crazy as damn possible. And you can literally bet on just about anything you can think of. So, like, we'll start before the game with the coin toss. You can bet on the damn coin toss. You can bet on how many mentions Tom Brady will get during the Super Bowl, currently at 1.5. So if you think he's going to be mentioned more than once during the Super Bowl, you can potentially make money. There are bets on what is the first song Rihanna is going to sing? What's the last song Rihanna is going to sing? Who's going to have the very first Super Bowl ad as soon as the game begins? Like, there's crazy, crazy, crazy bets. And if you do your research and you get down in those weeds, you can find some gold.
Yes, right.
You can find some diamonds, because pressure makes diamonds, you guys. Pressure makes diamonds. So yeah, I'm excited to go through all this stuff. I've got a good 7 bets that I'm really excited about.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Alex. If I'm talking about digging into the weeds, and you mentioned some bets: coin toss, national anthem length, color of the Gatorade that gets dumped on the coach, how many times Brady gets mentioned, first song by Rihanna, stuff like that. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can bet on every week inside the game, prop bets wise, as far as player props, game props, scoring props. And what I mean by props is these are proposition bets that are bets inside the game. So you can bet on everything from how many receptions or targets even that Travis Kelce might have, to how many rushes that Jalen Hurts might have, to interceptions thrown, to rushing yards, sacks, all of the things that are statistical in the game, you can bet on within the game. And in some cases, depending on who you use for your sports betting, DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, whatever, sponsor us.
There it is.
They have different options within the game of what you can bet on and what you can't. And you can ultimately do a couple of things in those games where if you're not sure if 50.5 is going to cover, but you're like, man, I know Kelsey's going to get 8.5 targets. Well, you can take some of these things and you can parlay them together, or you can bet them together and increase the odds on what would ordinarily be a bet you wouldn't take. You'd have to lay too much money to get your return on it. So those are the kinds of things that I like to look at when I look at the prop bets. But you had 7 bets that you love. So let's start with that. And Scott, feel free to jump in with your scribble sheet. Did you clean that up so that you can read it today?
Well, I've always been able to read it, man. It's just everybody else that has the problem.
There you go. All right. Well, feel free to jump in with stuff. All right. Let's start with what you like, Alex.
So my first bet is a parlay bet. So parlays, once again, are going to work out. You can have a normal bet, right? And your chance of winning a normal, just any bet. As soon as you add a second bet, so you have to win both of your bets, or all three of your bets, or all four of your bets in order to win a parlay. When you put together a parlay, the more bets that you combined, it literally doubles, triples, quadruples the chance of one you not winning, but also
Right, because you have to hit them all. 3 out of 4 is a loss, or
exactly.
you got to get them all.
Unless you do a progressive parlay, where then you could potentially lose one, but then your odds go down. So if you're just doing a straight parlay, you have to win all the bets. And my first one is a parlay. So I'm going to bet two things together, which is basically going to double, almost triple my odds, giving me a chance to win even more money. So what
Alex,
I really like,
I have a real quick question for you. On your parlay bets that you make, can you pick any two bets to put together, to string together, or are they set up to where this parlay has this bet, and you have to, or is it a la carte to make your parlay?
So it really depends on the type of service you're using, and if you're using somebody like DraftKings, or if you're at a casino and how much you're betting. There's no like standard way to do it. Usually for the Super Bowl, just about anything goes because it's the most bet sporting event in the US. So there's no right answer there. There's no specific list. So if you can't do one thing on DraftKings, you potentially could do it on FanDuel or Bovada or something else. So you got to do some looking around.
But in general, yes, typically it's an a la carte thing. They will have, based on the way that you typically bet, there's analytics and everything. So they see what you bet on, and they're going to give you prepackaged parlays. A lot of times it'll be super boosted and this and that. But for the most part, you go into a game and you say, hey, I think these 3 things are going to happen. For the most part, you're going to be able to bet on them. Now, sometimes they won't give you the opportunity to bet on 2 things in the same category. For example, if you want to take AJ Brown over receptions and Kelsey over receptions, they might not let you do that because they only let you take one in that category.
They don't love for you to hedge your bet. So if it's like, I'm going to bet all this money on this one because I get better odds, but then I'm going to hedge my bet by betting on the exact same thing, like the over, and then I'm going to hedge my bet by also betting on the under. They're not a big fan of you combining those 2 things together. Like, you can't do that.
Gotcha.
That's cheap.
So good question though. Okay. Your 2-game parlay, hit me.
I like the halftime and the full-time spread. Oh no, halftime and full-time winner being the Eagles. So who's going to have the highest score, or who's going to be leading at halftime? Who's going to be leading at the end of the game? I think it's going to be the Eagles. And I'll tell you why. One, I think this game is going to be won in the trenches, you guys, right? We've talked about the Eagles defense. They have the number 1 pressure rate in the NFL. Not only that, they have the number 1 sack rate in the NFL, right? The Eagles, incredible defense. The Chiefs, not so good on the defense. They have the 21st worst rush defense, right? That's crazy. They also have the 3rd worst DVOA, which is basically like, it's a measure of efficiency, right? They put all these things together in their fancy analytics calculator and they try to figure out what's the best efficiency, blah, blah, blah. Like the the Chiefs have the 3rd worst defensive efficiency in the NFL. So that leads to me that this is not going to be a good game for the Chiefs. It's going to be one in the trenches. The Chiefs played 2 teams that had a high winning percentage, like a decent DVOA. All right. They lost both of those games during the regular season. And I know everything's different during the playoffs, but then you're talking about the Eagles, who literally have the number 1 DVOA on an offense, the number 1 pressure rate, the number 1 sack rate on defense. They also have they are the number 1 team when it comes to explosive runs. Okay. So all of these things combined tell me that this game is not going to be close, in my opinion. I'd like it to be for like the viewership and whatnot, but I don't really care. I really just want to win money. So my first bet is the halftime and full-time winner being the Eagles. And I will parlay both of those. And if you do that, it's running at about a plus 160. So if you bet 100, you'd win $160 on top of your 100.
Good
So
Bet
to
stuff.
go
100,
along with
go home
that,
with 260. Yeah.
Go ahead,
Right?
Scott.
so to go along with that, since the game is going to be won in the trenches, and the Eagles are very good at sacking the quarterback, there is a game special on for Hassan Reddick to get a sack and the Eagles to win +190.
Nail
There
that
it
thing.
is.
Hammer that thing. +190
Hassan-
for Hassan Reddick to get one sack and the Eagles to win outright. See, that's a good example of where they're already. That's a one that's prepackaged that said, "Hey,
Yep.
by the way, they're looking at the way Scott bets and they're saying he likes a lot of prop stuff." And so they go,
But
"Hey,
that's
this
a
is a nice
layup.
little nugget." And that's the thing is it seems like a layup, and sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they put some out there that are just like dangling out there. And you're like, "Ooh, that's gonna be good," and then you bet on it and it doesn't hit. But if you don't bet on it,
Because
bang.
Hassan Reddick started the odds for him. I have some trending stats, which I'll throw in here from time to time too. Hassan Reddick to get over 2.5 to over 2 sacks started at +600. You bet 100, you win 600. Now it is down to 490. In fact, his MVP odds have plummeted as well because they think, oh shit, this guy might have a game. And we haven't seen a defensive MVP winner in quite some time.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Time.
It's been a minute. One of the NFL guys picked Hassan Reddick to get the MVP. We put out a little poll a couple of days ago on who we thought or who everybody thought would be the MVP of the game, and it was a lot of people picked the field. I was between Hurts, Mahomes, and the field. There was a lot of choices for the field, which I was like, okay, we never know. It could be. There's no telling.
I've got some MVP stuff too.
Let's go.
And you want that now? Let's do it. So. Usually for the MVP, 11 of the last 16 MVPs have been quarterbacks, right? 2 of the last 4, however, have been wide receivers. But so there's really not a lot of money in taking either of the quarterbacks, either Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts. And granted, Jalen Hurts has not really thrown the ball in the playoffs. He has 275 total passing yards in 2 playoff games combined, because they end up winning by so much he doesn't need to throw the ball. And the Eagles' way of winning games is be really good in the first and second quarter. They're the highest scoring team in the second quarter. The second highest team scoring in the second quarter is actually the Chiefs, which should be interesting. But
bet that second quarter over.
Second quarter over potentially for sure. But Jalen Hurts is probably going to throw for a couple, maybe a touchdown or 2. Maybe he runs for 50, 60 yards or whatever, and he throws for a couple hundred yards. Like, those aren't MVP numbers. I honestly don't think that he is going to win the MVP.
But I mean, how about this question though? Like, think about, I don't see a situation in which the Chiefs win at all and Mahomes doesn't get it. Kelsey could have 300 yards, but they're still going to give it to Mahomes because he threw it to him. Like, I don't see,
unless Kelsey racks up like 3 or 4 touchdowns or something, then potentially if it's all to the same person, he's at +310 right now. So bet 100 win 310. I don't know. No, that's a different one. I'm sorry. But who I like for the MVP is a wide receiver. He's not the first wide receiver, Jaylen Brown. It is Devontae Smith, right? He is at +3,100. So you bet 100 and you win a lot of money. You win $3,100. Like, that's a worthwhile bet for me. And here's why, right? Here's why. AJ Brown is on the left. The Chiefs' efficiency of guarding people who line up on the left, they are 6th in DVOA. So the left side is the side that they're decent on. On the right side, where Devontae Smith is going to be, they're second to last, right? 26 in DVOA over there. And they're dead last at guarding wide receiver number 1s. And usually in the Super Bowl, like, wide receiver number 1 sometimes doesn't do great. And it's usually like the second guy who steps up. So I think there's a ton of value in taking Devontae Smith +3,100 to be the MVP of this game.
Okay. Bang. You heard it here. MVP, Devontae Smith. He does play good in big games, national championship, big dog. Hey, Scott, you had a bet written down about MVS. What was your MVS bet? I had a pretty good odd on it. I felt like it was the one of those that stood out to me. Was it catches or targets?
It wasn't MVS, I don't think. I think it was Gainwell. I had a bet on Gainwell, and I had to get on Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, it was the Gainwell bet, I think.
Gainwell, I just like all of his overs. I think he's going to have a big game. I think they're going to run the ball. They're going to get up, and they're going to try to kill the clock. And Gainwell's their banger. So I think you're going to see him go over. His over-under is only 12.5 yards for reception, 9.5 yards for running, and receptions total 1.5. They're all ridiculously low, and that's something you could all parlay together. I don't have the actual number.
Fun fact: Kenneth Gainwell from Memphis,
Tennessee,
Memphis Tigers.
Wow.
Also, Tony Pollard. Also, who's the other guy? Anthony or something Gibson. What the Commander?
Antonio?
Yeah,
Antonio Gibson.
Antonio Gibson.
What that?
They were all in the same squad. Anyways, back to
Love
you,
it.
Scott.
I like both those things too. I like Gainwell too.
Yeah, the only other one was Kadarius Toney on the other end. He's going to be healthy this game. He's already said he's going to be playing the game, and when he's healthy, they use him. His over-under on receiving yards, I think, is like 50. Probably not even that high. I think the parlay, though, is for him to get at least 50 yards and a touchdown. That'd be plus 1156.
For him to get 50 and a tut, 1156. That's put down 100.
May not get, but it's good value for what you're probably going to get, because when these out there, they like to go to him.
Yeah.
His total yards started at 22.5.
Wow. Can you imagine getting it back
when
then?
it first came out, and then went to 24.5. So
Then
interesting. Juju Smith-Schuster has a $1 million has a $1 million bonus if he plays more than 50% of the snaps as a Chief. So God knows he's going to be trying to play every damn snap in here. His yards went way up too. He started at 33.5, and now he's up to 38.5 because everybody knows he's trying to get that money though.
He went way up from 33 to 38.
That's the yards. I also like just a regular player prop. I'm loving me some Dallas Goedert, right? He's sitting right now at 49.5 total yards. And I like that to go over. He is the slot receiver for the Eagles. Anytime, it's literally one of the first people that Jalen Hurts looks at, or it's the last person Jalen Hurts looks at, and it is the guy who's going to be right over the middle, right? He's playing in the slot. So he was injured a couple games this year. 9 of the 14 games, he had over 49.5 yards, right? Once again, because the Eagles have a bottom 5 DVOA. And when Goddard played against teams that had bottom 5 DVOAs, like they're just not good defenses, he had 57 yards, 72 yards, 46 yards, and 78 yards. All of those are over 49.5 yards. Well, except the 46. But there is a very good chance that he is going to catch a lot of balls and Chiefs give up the second most tight ends in the NFL to the slot. And that's where Goddard's going to be. They're going to be feeding Goddard the whole time. Everybody's on this Kelsey train, and that's fine because Kelsey's really good and incredibly entertaining to watch. But I think Goddard's going to be way over. I also like him as an anytime touchdown starter or anytime touchdown scorer during the game at plus 175 because he's good and he's going to be good.
Hey, I've got 2 things here. One, defense adjusted value over average. He says DVOA a lot. That's what he means. What that is a bunch of mumbo jumbo that's some sort of fancy analytics. But I did want to let everybody know that the acronym is what it actually means. It's defense adjusted value over average. So whatever the fuck that means. Second thing.
It's like the efficiency of being able to do well.
It's as convoluted as QBR and all that other fun. ESPN, NFL, everybody's got a different calculator. It doesn't mean anything to me. The second thing that I want to ask Scott is he talked about a parlay or a prop bet. I can't remember what it was, but it was the over under like 170 for touchdown scores, jersey numbers. Like if you add up everybody who scores a touchdown and you add up their jersey number, the over under was like 170. And I'm like, unless Kelsey's 87, Goddard's 88, and we're like, okay, like if either one of those guys don't score, you've got 6 for Devontae Smith, 11 AJ Brown, you've got 1 for Jalen Hurts, 15 Mahomes, you've got 10 for Pacheco, 1 for Kadarius Toney, 9 for Juju. Like there's a lot of small numbers. So unless you're banking on Goddard and Kelsey to go bananas, like it's an interesting bet to think about. Not only who do you think would score, but what the fuck their jersey is. What do you think, JJ? Would you take that bet?
I actually took it already. I was like, I'm a hope Kelsey gets one, hope Goddard gets one, and then the rest of the math can fucking figure itself out. I was like, I don't even know what their kickers numbers are. I was like,
do the kickers if they kick a field goal, do you get their number?
No, probably not.
I don't know.
It's probably just a touchdown, but maybe.
That'd be sweet.
They add it up and I lose and they don't count the kickers, then I just got the ass.
I do like, as we're talking about kickers, I do like the Chiefs to have the longest punt of the game. Tommy Townsend averaging 50.4 yards per kick, second in the NFL this year. The Eagles kicker just coming off the IR, he averaged 45.6, which is almost dead last in the NFL. Coming off the IR, they actually had the place kicker doing punts in the playoffs because their punter got hurt. So I like Chiefs Tommy Townsend to have the longest punt of the game. Not going to make a ton of money in that one. That's at minus 155.
See, those are the ones
that
those minus
5 to get 100.
Those easy ones that they put minus money on. Those are the ones I put 2 or 3 of those together because
if I'm going to put those things together, yeah. I would
because
put that
it'll
one,
take that minus 150. It might bump it to 210. It might bump it to 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
It increases your odds and your.
If I'm going to prop those things together, exactly, because I got to spend $155 just to win 100. Right. But if I parlay that with these 2 other ones I'm about to tell you, then my odds increase significantly, and all of a sudden I'm actually making money on this bet. I would prop that one with Chiefs to call the first timeout in 15 of 19 games, 79% of the time. Andy Reid was the first one to call a timeout.
That's an interesting stat.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Because Nick Sirianni, 7 of 19 games, only 37% did he call a timeout. I don't know. Andy Reid doesn't even seem like he's even using that headset most of the time. And when he does, it's probably just getting a cheeseburger or some shit. And, he runs obviously a great show, but damn, I feel like he's easily going to call a timeout probably in the first quarter. So, yeah, I would prop the Chiefs' longest punt, the Chiefs for the first time out, and then the other thing, over 10 accepted penalties in this game. The head referee is Carl Cheffers. Carl, he has called 11 this season. He has done games where he has called 11 or more accepted penalties 78% of the time. He's only done 9 or fewer penalties 15% of the time. So once again, I'm parlaying all 3 of these things together. Over 10 accepted penalties, Chiefs to call the first time out, and Chiefs to have the longest punt. That's my parlay.
And what are the odds on that?
I don't even know. I haven't even parlayed them all together. But as I was figuring these things out, I was like,
those are the ones you're going
3
with?
that I'm going to parlay together. Yep.
I love it. Scott?
Like over 10 accepted penalties is minus 110. Chiefs first timeout is minus 115, and Chiefs longest punt is minus 155. So parlaying all those things together, you'll be in the plus, I don't know, 3 or 4 probably.
Probably. Scott, what about you? Go down your list. What are your favorites off your list after you've had some time to marinate on it?
My favorite bet is Mahomes to throw an interception. I think he's going to be under a lot of pressure all game long. You got CJ, GJ on one side, and you have Slay on the other. really good corners to deal with. He's going to try and take some chances because they're going to have to put up some points to win this game.
No doubt.
My second favorite bet is McKinnon, longest rush under 9.5 yards. He's more of a catch the ball out of the backfield back. He doesn't get a lot of handoffs. When he does, he only runs 1, 2, 3 yards, and he's tackled. I don't think he goes over
Hold on,
that.
I got a stat for that one. That is fantastic. You are reading my mind. McKinnon, longest run under 8.5 yards. His longest run, 74% of his games this year, 7 or fewer yards. 7 or fewer yards. And I also read that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be playing in this game, which means less opportunities for McKinnon. Yeah, that's a good one. Love it. Mahomes throwing an interception, minus 120 right now. In his last two Super Bowl appearances, Jared Jones, how many interceptions did Mahomes have in both of his past Super Bowls?
2. There you go. So
2 in each Super Bowl. 2 in each Super Bowl. In fact, crazily enough, and maybe this is like some Illuminati shit, Patrick Mahomes has 56 total interceptions in his career. And what Super Bowl are we playing in, Caleb?
57.
Oh my God, you got it. There's no way he's not going to throw an interception, right? 56 total in his career, Super Bowl 57. We're printing money here, you guys. We're printing
The odds say.
The odds say. All right, so Mahomie to throw a pick and under Jerick McKinnon, longest rushing yards so far. What else you got?
I got 2 more.
Go
ahead. Go ahead.
Scott, it's Scott's turn, Alex. Keep it in your pants.
My bad. I'm so excited. Money.
I've only got a couple more one of them's more of a flyer, and the other one I think is going to happen. I like Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. I just feel like there's probably going to be a pass interference call, which puts the ball on the 1 yard line. They're not going to take it out of his hands from there. I think he gets in.
Is there a prop for it to be? Is there a prop for that to be a QB sneak, or does it not get that specific?
I couldn't find it.
Okay.
No, it's
just curious. Just curious.
First touchdown. The other one is kind of the Pat McAfee special. He was talking about the game balls yesterday. No touchback on the opening kickoff. They're playing with brand new balls.
You're crazy.
They're brand new balls. They're slick. As soon as that ball's kicked, it goes to the Hall of Fame. Very difficult. And a lot of nerves on that first kick. Plus 130.
Wow. The Pat McAfee pick. I will play with you on the Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's going to be the first touchdown scorer, but I do think his first rush attempt will be under 4.5 yards. Only 16 of his 36 runs this year were over 5.5 yards. And I'm thinking this is going to be a QB sneak where they get at like the 8.5 or the 9 yard line and they just get that rugby scrum and move it forward.
It could be in the first series. I think
that's going to happen. I honestly think that's going to happen in the first quarter. And that one is at plus 110. His average run in the first quarter, 3.5 yards this season. So I'm going under 4.5 for his very first run. And I think it's going to be that little
on the opposite side of that. I would take Mahomes over 3.5. He doesn't sneak. He might just get out of the pocket and just scramble.
I'm not touching anything Mahomes running the ball.
Yeah.
If he gets hit behind the line, it's a sack.
True.
Sneak it. So he's only going to be outside the pocket trying to gain yards.
I would agree with that.
I
would agree.
What about you, JJ? You've already made a couple. So did you took the under or the over on the total points for the jersey numbers?
I took the over. I'm assuming. Yeah, I thought field goal kickers would count. I don't know. I did not read the fine print, which I know shocks everybody that's listening.
Of course not.
It
doesn't surprise
Maybe they do. I don't know.
The least.
What else? Instead of going overly into the odds and ends on the field, I kind of like to put my bets in terms of not crushing my confidence out of the gate and staying in tune the whole game. So final play being a kneel, I bet no, just because I want it to be at least a Hail Mary, even when the Chiefs are way the hell out of this. I also put money on the coin flip.
Keys are on his stick there.
True 50-50, little true 50-50s you can get. So I'll just throw out there. The one I hate is the anthem, because I
love the anthem.
No chance. It'll piss me off more than anything. They haven't even kicked the ball off, flipped the coin, and I've already fucking
It's my
lost
biggest-
money.
it's my biggest bet of the
mad
year,
as
JJ.
mad as a shit. No, I avoid it like the plague. So I'm not sitting there with my time, my stopwatch. So at the end, I got to check my app. Oh, fuck, I lost again. I'm like 0 for 4 of those. The parlay I'm going with, Eagles money line, touchdown for Kelsey, and over 51. It's one of those things we're stacking good odds. So $5 gets you $27. It seems pretty easy there at face value.
Love it.
There
Love
it
it.
is.
Love it. All right. So we're gonna put a bow on this thing. So I want Alex to
No,
talk
I
about
got
his.
2 more.
Alex, keep it in your fucking pants. You're like a 5-year-old.
Dang, I'm so
Jesus
excited.
Christ. I want you to talk about your extensive and try to wrap it up. Like, let's not be so extensive, but I want to talk about the national anthem. You've got research, you've got experience, you've got insider knowledge.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, and let's wrap up your really long list of picks that you like.
Let me do my other 2. I'll jump into the national anthem. These will be fast.
We're gonna have to cut you off, and we're turning the awards
I'm
music
just
on.
trying to make the people money, Nick. I'm trying to make the people money.
All right, let's go.
Instead of the first person to score a touchdown, you can actually choose a team and then go the first person on that team to score the touchdown. So like the first Eagle to score a touchdown, the first Chief to score a touchdown. I like the first Chief to score a touchdown to be Travis Kelce at plus 310. Eagles allow 6 of their 18 game. Their first TD was given up to a tight end. In Kansas City, 8 of 19. Kelce scored that touchdown. In the Jags and the Bengals game, both of their playoff games, Kelce scored the opening touchdown. So I like that one at plus 310. I also really like Philadelphia anytime touchdown for the defense. That is at plus 750. Okay. Anytime touchdown for the Philadelphia defense. In 56 Super Bowls, there have been 21 defensive touchdowns. That's 38% of the Super Bowls have a defensive touchdowns, right? 20 of those have been by the winning team. So if you think the Eagles are going to win, or if you think the Chiefs are going to win, you might as well put some money on their defense scoring a touchdown. Of the last 30 Super Bowls, there's been 15 defensive touchdowns. And I think this is going to be like a late one, JJ, where it's like the Chiefs are behind and they do something stupid, but also the Eagles have an incredible defense. So like put money on anytime touchdown for the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, now let's talk about the national anthem. Was that fast enough? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Keep going. So when I worked for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, I sat next to the person that booked all of the national anthem singers. So if I didn't hear the national anthem at least once, if not 8 times a day, it was an abnormal day. The average anthem should take 90 seconds, JJ. 90 seconds. So when they're booking them for over there at Progressive Field for the Guardians, they're saying you got to get it 90 seconds. 90 seconds. We don't want this blah, 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 right? So this year, Chris Stapleton is singing the anthem, right? First of all, I know nothing about Chris Stapleton. He could walk by, no clue. Will he be using a guitar? That's my question. Are you sure?
No.
Awesome.
But I know him well enough to know that we're not personal friends, but I've been in the same room with him enough and watched how he handles his business. He's done a lot of things without the guitar. He uses the guitar. He's probably going to stand up there and absolutely just slay it. Like, with
no guitar makes a huge difference. So this is very different for the Super Bowl because, oh God, let me see. We've only had 3 men perform the national anthem, right? We had Billy Joel, who used the piano, and guess how long that one was? 90 seconds on the dot. 90 seconds on the dot. We had Luke Bryan. Luke Bryan, what did he use?
Guitar.
The guitar. He was at 204 because he used that guitar. Right. We've only had 4 overs for the anthem in the last 16 years. Only 4 overs. This bet started at 205, and that's where I hammered it.
I got it at 205, and I'm like, 205? You're crazy for a man? No way. This is like Tina Turner getting it like 220 or something. 205 is way too much time. Way too much time. That bet, as of right now, according to our friends at DraftKings, is at a minute and sponsor us. Yes, thank you. Is at a minute and 59 seconds, and the odds are is it's going over. It's minus 180. So you got to bet $280 to win $100. If you think it's going under, it's at plus 210. So bet 100 and win 210. I think it's going under. Okay,
Well, that would probably mean that he's got the guitar.
If he has the guitar, then I think it's going over, because the guitar.
Well, I think the line's probably set.
When Luke Bryan used the guitar, he was at 204.
Well, I think the line is set because they probably know he's going to use the guitar.
You just told me he wasn't going to use the guitar.
No, I said
personal friends.
I said I didn't think that he would. I figured he would just stand there and just let it rip. But if it's set, like Vegas knows, like I look at the lines and you're like, one of the things that I always remind myself is they know shit we don't. And so if it's set at 204 or 205 or 199 or whatever the hell it was, there's probably a reason for it.
I would agree. If he's not using his guitar, it's going under.
But my gut, when I first heard that he was singing it was going to be under. As soon as I heard that he was singing it, I was like, he's going to get up there and he's going to knock it out. But he doesn't do a lot of that, extra shit. Like he just kind of just sings it and he does his thing and kind of knocks it out. So
I mean, if that happens,
I'm on the under. I'm on the under with Alex on that.
Yes, take that money. And then the last thing I'll talk about is the Gatorade color, to obviously dump it and end the show, right?
Right.
Gatorade, I did some research. It's totally random of what Gatorade is going to be there. In fact, Gatorade even released a statement and they were like, we just randomly put shit out there. And like whatever they grab is what they grab, but it's not like every color is out there, right? Like lemon lime has been popular. I think the Chiefs have used orange in their Super Bowl victory. The biggest odds I think are on purple right now. JJ, I think, bet on blue, right? JJ?
Yeah, blue's what I wrote down because it's one of my favorites.
Blue.
It's my favorite.
Every time the Patriots play or the Patriots have won, it has been blue. In fact, blue. But where I think you can make the most money on this bet is to go with none. No Gatorade dousing whatsoever. That has happened 4 times in the last 22 years. It happened 2017, obviously Belichick telling, don't you dare touch me with that Gatorade. And then it also happened when the Ravens won. I see the Eagles winning and Nick Sirianni being like, don't you get that shit anywhere near me after we win.
No, he's going to take it to the face. He'll turn around and just...
No, I don't think so. I think he's going to tell the team before, don't you dare touch me with that Gatorade.
No chance you talk about it. I think
none 11-1 odds. That's where I'm going.
Yeah, that's a lot of value there, but not like
that's what I'm saying. Like it's $10 win you 110. Hell yeah, I'm going to put $10 on no Gatorade color. Otherwise, there's really no money to be made on the Gatorade color, and there's no rhyme or reason. So if you're not going to take that, I would take a crazy one like JJ did with blue, which I think is the second highest odds. Well, the highest odds is none. Either go blue or purple, and then just put it at that. Because the other ones are just there's no research to be done about the Gatorade. And I really like Nick Sirianni being like, don't you guys touch me with that shit. We're champions here.
Well, there you go.
Now, you get that man at the bar, he's going to be like, pour whatever you want on top.
Yeah, probably.
But
all for short of the anthem. I've got your and Scott's advice right here in chicken scratches. I'm going to support the squad and make a lot of money tomorrow. So I appreciate it.
I love it.
I like it.
Before we go, I've got the Eagles -1.5. It's a pick'em game. I'm taking the over 50.5. Kristen?
Taking the Eagles and the over.
Eagles
Life's too short to bet the under.
Damn right,
It's
baby.
Super Bowl. Let's go.
Alex, JJ, you've got all your prop
Eagles
bets.
In the over, yeah.
Eagles in the over. Scott, what are you going leaning towards?
Eagles in the under. Actually, I think that defense is going to shut them down.
Yeah, that's
and they're going to run the ball out.
So we got a lot of prop bets. We got a lot of on the field prop bets, off the field prop bets, coin toss, colors, national anthem unders. this was gold. There's a lot of money to be made inside these prop bets and in this game. There's also a lot of fun to be had. Let's be honest. We're gonna have a lot of things that we're paying attention to. I've got a few of the boards where you the scoreboards bets that you do with your buddies. There's a lot of things the squares. We got a lot of things going on. They're gonna be a blast. Go check this out on Instagram and TikTok at Nashville Stash. Follow us there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel below. Link in the bio for all the new episodes. And let's go make some money this weekend. Have a blast. I really appreciate you guys joining me today. Go have some fun. JJ, it's crazy in Phoenix. Be safe out there, buddy. And we'll have a big show after the Super Bowl to wrap it up, to talk about the game, everything that happened on it, after it, before it, during it, etc. And we'll have a big time next week. Make that money. Until then, be good, be well. StacheCast out. StacheCast, baby.